Mong.
김태균 선수 준비시켜주세요. 김태균 선수.
Force water, I could do that. The problem is, well, there's two problems. First of all, Sonic will like randomly talk anyway, so it disrupts it. But more importantly, then it'd be very difficult to split the VODs. Because if I accidentally include too much of the music in the VOD, it'll get muted on YouTube. Because I'm fairly certain these are like copyrighted songs and shit. So, yeah. This makes me so happy every time he tabs out to do this.
아프리카 스타크래프트 자존심 소닉TV 함께하고 있습니다. 7차 서비스 리그 16강 B조의 세 번째 경기인데요. 신저격 능선에서
We love you, Sonic.
경기 바로 가보도록 하죠.
몽군 하나 둘 셋.
Oh, are they doing the cheers?
하나 둘 셋.
You guys hear that? They did the 하나 둘 셋. Perfectman fighting.
자, 경기 시작됐습니다. 지금 보이는 11시 인형이 몽군
Alright, here we go. Here we go. Game number 3 to decide who's going to take the first match here. Remember, guys, the format is a group stage. Yeah, it's a group of 4 players, MSL style, with each match being best of 3 instead of best of 1. It's quite nice. And I believe the last match is best of 5. At least it was in the round of 32. Anyway, there are Mong and Perfectman.
네, 그렇죠. 지상권만 약간만 조합됐더라도 승리를 할 수 있었을 텐데 약간 아쉬웠어요.
And here we go. Looks like the third map is going to be Sniper Ridge. At the bottom right is the red Protoss. We have Perfectman. And at the top left as the yellow Terran, we have Mong. Now I'll be interested to see what strategies these guys pull out here. You know, Perfectman so far has been the one pulling out kind of I'm trying to find a good word for this. I don't want to say cheesy. I don't want to say like unorthodox, but you know, Perfectman's been the one who's been like, you know, doing the things that make Artosis sad, right? So he's gone for DT drop and then carrier rush. So he is not a friend of Artosis. And Mong, on the other hand, we haven't really been able to see too much of his own, I guess, style, because he's just been having to react to this craziness from Perfectman. And more importantly, you know, after the ridiculous game 2 we saw, I'm sure both these players are a little bit tired from that, and especially Perfectman, who lost the game, you know, after microing so hard with the carriers, after kind of almost managing to pull off a win from a bad situation, finally getting taken out there. I'm sure he's definitely mentally exhausted, so don't know if either of these players will try a bit of a cheesier strategy, some kind of, you know, 2-base all-in or something, just because they don't feel like playing another ridiculously long game. We shall see. Well, I'm sure, like, at least Perfectman, who, you know, was until fairly recently an active pro gamer, is probably used to the longer hours. He, of course, was on Hwaseong, Oz, and then got picked up by KT Rolster after they disbanded. I believe the last game he played, televised game, was a Pro League match, actually, against Jadong in mid-March or something. I checked the TLPD earlier. But yeah, I think he played actually 2 matches, I think, for KT in March, and then properly retired a little bit after that. So, oh, zoom in on the Star Girl, who's completely disinterested. See, at least the OGN or the OSL Star Girls, they look at the screen and stuff, but she's sitting there texting, showing like, oh, I'm so bored. It's alright.
그래서 어제 어떤 분은 그걸 보고 아 연출 진짜 멋있었다 이런 말을 하셨는데
Anyway,
연출이 아니라 사실
looks
힘들어가지고
like a much earlier SCV
힘을
scout here
먹었거든요, 사실.
from Mong.
네, 자, 지휘.
It's gonna see that they have spawned cross
네,
positions.
뭐 어쨌든 많은 분들이 즐기고
And
있고
gonna
자,
see a
김태균과
oh, he's gonna
시간이
block the Nexus.
없으면은
Oh, look at that! Oh, Mong,
네, 샤인
Mong,
선수가
Mong, Mong.
저 간중석이 그냥 앉아 있는 것 자체가
BM blocking
느낌이다.
that Nexus
네. 자, 그럼
and is going for an FD.
몽구 선수가 엔지니어링 베이 지으면서 좀 앞마당 시간을
So one gate expand versus an FD. Timing here, it should be fine because it's cross map. If it's a strong FD, sometimes the one gate expand has a tiny bit of trouble holding it off if they're in closer positions. But I think cross map there's plenty of space for him to just micro it down.
드라군으로 정찰하네요.
Meanwhile, he's actually just going to scout with his Dragoon here. Perfectman not sending out a probe scout at all, just saving those extra little bit of minerals. And you know, those little bit of minerals in the early game really do count, actually. So, it's going to help him just a little bit here. He's got to be careful not to get that Dragoon caught, though, when he walks over. He's going to have good reaction time, or he might take a bit of free damage. And it looks like it's going to be 6 Marines coming out, plus a siege tank. They're probably going to move out now, and or maybe in just a second when the first Vulture pops out. Looks like, yep, there's the expansion just behind. So very, very standard FD here, fake double from Mong. So he's going to put on a little bit of pressure. You know, he saw with the SCV that it was was almost certainly a fast expand opening from Perfectman. So he's definitely going to move out here. You know, sometimes the Terran player, if he senses some kind of DT shenanigans or something, he'll actually play. You can play the FD a little bit more defensively. You know, it's a very versatile build. You know, if you think your opponent's going to try and do DT rush or something, you just keep everything at home. You lay defensive mines, and then you're good to go. On the other hand, if you sense your opponent's being a little bit greedier, you can actually go for the attack. You know, move out with the Marines in the tank and rally in the Vultures as well. So it's a pretty nice flexible opening. It looks like in this case, Mong has decided to be a little bit more defensive, not actually commit to an attack. Of course, he knows it's cross map, so it's a little bit difficult to make it work. So instead, he's just going to send out the Vultures and see what he can do with those, while keeping the Marines in the tank at home. It's like one Vulture going to get warded away by this Dragoon. Ooh, he's actually pulling these Dragoons away. Oh, I thought he was going to run the second Vulture into the main here. Look at this. Look at the minimap. There's actually all the Dragoons are out of position here. That second Vulture could have come in from like the right side and just run into the main or something. I thought he was actually doing that. That would have been a sick mind game there, but not really mind game, but sick little distraction tactic. But looks like just gonna walk around with the Vulture in the middle. Meanwhile, Perfectman so far following up very, very standard, adding on 2 more gateways and then the Robo for the Obs. He's sending a probe up to the top. You know, if you build a pylon up there, you can potentially hide some kind of tech. If the Terrans, if he scans your main, it's most likely not going to reach all the way up there. And whoa! Oh, looks like huh? Somebody texting away furiously. Protoss is so imbalanced. Somebody call Artosis. Anyway, first Obs is out, poking around, and looks like we have a third base going down. So it looks like, after the somewhat unusual strategies in the first 2 games, not really unusual, but uncommon, maybe. We're going to see a very, very standard opening from Perfectman this game. 1 gate expand into 2 more gateways, Obs, and then a third base. It's like super standard, fairly safe. And now we get to see what Mong is going to do about it. He's not doing anything too crazy either. Just went for FD, now getting on adding on 2 more factories. Let's see if he takes a fairly fast third as well. Okay, has he already made his third? Somebody's floating over to the 12 o'clock. Oh no, that's probably just the engineering bay. Yeah. Okay. So we can actually see another long PVT here. And I like that, because generally the longer the game goes, the more chance of the actual better player winning, which is always nice. Anyway, it looks like speed done on these Vultures. I'm just going to poke around a little bit, probably just check out this third. I'd imagine he knows it's there already. And this is going to get warded away by the Dragoons. He's going to walk back. Meanwhile, Pylon Wall going up just to protect that from any Vulture run-ins, Vulture harassment. And otherwise, it's going to be a fairly passive opening in this game. And that's fine. I mean, they are cross-map. so it's a little bit harder to be aggressive early on. Having said that, Mong looks like he is going to poke out here. I don't think this is going to be too hardcore of an attack, although he does have 5 siege tanks. He's bringing all his marines and vultures. I mean, this is actually a pretty significant force, and the thing is, Perfectman, has he seen this coming? Oh man, I don't think Perfectman knows this is actually coming out. Oh no, he does! Oh no, he's actually just setting up a flank. I thought the Dragoons were just kind of running in, and it looks like, yeah, very nice snipe there. Snipes one of the siege tanks, forces the siege up. Wow, Perfectman, he knew it, he saw it. See, the thing is, I don't see an obs on the minimap outside the Terrence National, so I'm not actually sure how he saw that. There must be an obs somewhere. But, oh, meanwhile, Mong trying to do a vulture run by into the main base, not going to let that happen, and, oh, he's got to be careful not to pull the mines in. Oh! Pulls the mines into the vultures. Very well done here. For a second, I was a little bit scared that the Dragoon would accidentally blow up some probes with it, but actually, micro pretty much perfectly there, and now Mong is moving in, but he does not have enough units here. He has to retreat with these tanks. He does not want to lose those tanks. The vultures and the marines are expendable, but the tanks are absolutely not. He's just going to siege up on the high ground. Those tanks are forfeit if he does that. Oh my god, that's a very questionable decision. I feel like he could have gotten away with those 4 tanks if he just moved back to his main and just sacrificed the other units. Instead, he sieges up, and now he's just lost his entire attack force. He is expanding to the 12 o'clock while this is going on, but look at this. His vulture harass is getting completely shut down. I mean, Perfectman is playing basically a perfect defensive game here, and while this is going on, he's actually gone up, getting his Arbiter Tech going. He's got 6 gateways pumping. I mean, he's actually in a really nice position now. And he's actually going to go for a counterattack here. He's still got to be slightly careful about vulture vulture runarounds. It's a very common kind of stalling tactic by Terran. You know, if he loses a big attack, if he feels like he's on the back foot, just to keep the Protoss occupied, just kind of throw in sacrificial vultures to do some harassment. But it looks like, oh, he was just trying to do that, but the Dragoons were already in position here. But, you know, there's just a handful of Dragoons, and there's a one well-placed siege tank there. It's still a little bit difficult, just, you know, with a small number of Dragoons here to really do anything, you know, against all these spider mines and well-placed tanks. Looks like he's trying to do something here. He gets a good mine bomb off on some vultures. The Dragoons trying to close with that siege tank. Is it going to be enough here? It looks like he does take out that one siege tank, but another one comes in from behind. But for in the meantime, it looks like he has at least forced a lift on this command center here. So just forcing his way in with like 8 to 10 Dragoons here. Very, very nice aggressive play from Perfectman. Just going to force the lift off, force the SCVs to be pulled, kill a few units, kill a few SCVs, and just going to keep the Terran back while he's taking a 4th base. He is taking a 4th base at the bottom left main, and Mong, I don't think has any idea this is going on. He's just going to go keep harassing the initial 3 bases here. He's not going to be able to walk in past that pylon wall. It is, wow, is that really tight? It looks like there's a gap on the left, but actually not. So yeah, this is going to be perfectly fine for Perfectman. And now these Dragoons are going to come around the back and trap these vultures. These vultures are completely gone, no escape path, and bye-bye vultures. So they did a bit of damage on a pylon, and that is about it. While this 4th base going up completely undetected here for Perfectman. It's really not looking good for Mong. He still hasn't established his 3rd base again. The Dragoons have been pushed out, but he hasn't sent the command center back yet. He's just floating it back now, it looks like. But that's, you know, that's just going to start mining as the 4th base of Perfectman gets up. So Perfectman's going to be in wonderful shape, and still just being aggressive with these Dragoons here. There's no siege tank in position to actually defend this. So look at this. Mong just kind of assumed that, you know, that with only 6 Dragoons there, Perfectman would just pull back, but actually he's just going back in again. This is really, really interesting. Now the vulture's coming around the back, going to try and do a fancy little mine surround, but more Dragoons coming in from the back again. Two Dragoons do survive. And Perfectman is just not letting Mong get his 3rd base. He's got a shuttle there. I wonder what's in that. Presumably 4 zealots. I mean, that would be the best situation now, or the best case for him to have 4 zealots there. But it doesn't really matter. I'm actually curious how far along his arbiters are. We saw him getting his arbiter tech earlier, and looks like full wall off now at the bottom left main. Can prevent any vultures from sneaking in there. He's even, look at that, he's even reinforced that pylon wall with an additional pylon there at his 6 o'clock base. Just being very, very careful there. I mean, even though the pylon was only damaged a little bit, he's like, well, you know, I really don't want to deal with any significant vulture harass now. And look at that, the big wave of zealots here. Wow, so many zealots. Very similar to what we saw last game, actually. Just a sudden swell of zealots. And this is, in fact, how you actually want to play here, or play PvT. You know, in the early game, Dragoons are your friend here. You don't actually want that many zealots, because they're really not good against vultures and spider mines. Like, you know, a lot of, a very common mistake for very, you know, lower level Protoss players in PvT is to start making zealots too early. In fact, in the early game and the early mid game, you want to basically only make Dragoons, as well as, you know, possibly some Reavers or whatnot. But it's essentially your your army composition should be 90% Dragoons at least. It's only once you get to the mid-late game where you suddenly start transitioning and you just spam a whole bunch of Zealots. Really, until your Citadel is done, I think you almost never want to really make Zealots unless you're just making a couple to put in a shuttle for a Reaver drop or something. But here we go. It looks like some units are moving in now with that bunch of Zealots. He is just going to try and break through here. The stasis on those 2 tanks on the high ground, and I think that'll probably be enough here. Just way too many units flooding in here. Looks like a drop at the bottom left main. Has managed to kill all the probes. Is going to force or is going to stop mining there, but can Mong hold on to his main base? I don't know. He's got 2 tanks in good position here, a decent defensive position there at the natural here. I think it's probably going to be enough, but I mean, his 3rd base is gone once again. The dropship actually is coming back here. There is a cannon in place though. He might be able to drop on the bottom right actually, and just siege up there. That'd be quite cool, but yeah, gonna lose these 2 tanks as well. Gonna lose a bunch of SCVs there at the 3rd. Probably actually gonna lose everything at the 3rd there. And even with this drop here, I still think Perfectman is in pretty good position. Those units actually just run up to the tank there. Yep, there we go. Oh, yeah, it gets the dropship as well. So now the Protoss army's like, well, we killed the 3rd. All right, let's move back here. You should probably snipe those High Templars with those vultures. Nope. Not gonna happen. That's alright. And well, I mean, Mong did a good harassment with that drop. Took out the bottom left, killed a good number of probes at the 6th block, but he's got no standing army left. That's the problem. I mean, the Terran army, especially that core of siege tanks, is just so hard to replenish. If you really want to keep it alive, I mean, you can throw away as many vultures as you want, but without those siege tanks, it's just so difficult for him. And now he's facing the Arbiter tech. He did have 1 science vessel there, but not really gonna have too many. He doesn't really have enough resources to set up good anti-recall defense or anything in his main. If you look at his main, it's completely open, vulnerable to recalls. So Mong really in a difficult position here against Perfectman. And of course, this is going to be the deciding game for this set. So whoever wins this game is going to go on to the winners match of the group, and whoever loses will go on to the losers match. Of course, neither player will be out, even if they lose, but it'll be a little bit more difficult. They'll have to win 2 series. And whoa, a big stasis on a bunch of vultures there. Not the most usual use for a stasis. Usually you want to stasis as many siege tanks as possible, get some tanks at the back if you can. But in this case, I mean, it doesn't really matter what he does. He's got High Templar coming in here. He's got a lot of Zealots. And actually, wait a minute. It looks like Mong might be able to hold on here. It's very, very close here. Oh, he's got no detection. No, the tanks are going to walk in here. Going to die to these Dragoons that are cloaked. Oh, Mong not paying attention. Going to lose those tanks for free. Archon even just chilling there in the middle, and GG from Mong. Perfectman takes it 2-1. A very nice series here to start off the day, and Perfectman advances to the winners match. Mong drops to the losers match. But don't go anywhere, guys, because we have many more matches coming up here. The next match in the group is going to be Sabre versus Shiny, a TBZ, and that will determine which of them is going to play which of these 2 guys. And that'll be a best of 3 as well. We actually have really nice racial balance in all these groups in the SSL. Every group has at least 1 player from each race, so it's actually really, really nice. In today's group, of course, we have 2 Terrans, a Zerg, and a Protoss. It's actually quite refreshing because there's actually a good number of Terrans in the round of 16. I believe that's actually the most number of Terrans, more Terrans than Zergs and Protoss in the round of 16, which is kind of the opposite of what what we see in the foreign scene nowadays, where the top levels are mainly dominated by Zergs and then Protosses, and very few high-level Terrans left.